welcome to the Panic Room for Thursday. Don't know what week it is, don't know what month it is. I'm pretty sure it's 2020, but here we are in the Panic Room, 8 to 10 minutes of pure panic while we're going through lockdown. And today in the Panic Room, we're going to look at a question: is this pandemic the portal to a better world on the other side? Will we come out of this nicer or nastier? That's the question we're going to look at. But speaking of nice and nasty, how are you going over there in Sydney, David Robertson?
I am, yes, as the nice one of this duo, I am doing pretty well. I thought that I would sing you a wee song, because apparently we're not allowed to play songs because we get blocked. So this will be a real test of how, whether YouTube can pick up my tune. So how about, I don't know, let's have a look at this. Oh, we're halfway there. Whoa, living on a square. Does that work?
That worked. I think YouTube would be onto that pretty quickly, because you can hold a tune. I'm impressed.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. I better stop sharing that, but I just thought I just really like that. That is, well, listen, by the way, how's it going over here? I read some extraordinary news. Yeah, you're going to need that. Some extraordinary news today. There is a proposal which has been leaked by the New South Wales government, I suspect to encourage us, that as of May the 1st, they're proposing loosening the restrictions here and opening cafes and restaurants and gyms. Now, the interesting thing about that is why they're going to do it, because their restriction methods have worked too well, and they need some more people to catch the virus. It's back to the herd immunity thing, because they can't keep the economy shut down for 18 months. You know, so it's interesting, but it's worked very well. People are behaving themselves, despite your jibes at New South Wales people going to beaches. Obviously, our going to beaches has cleansed us. So let's have a competition to see who's first out of restrictions.
Oh, look, I think if you come to Perth, everything's shut down by 7 o'clock in the evening anyway. On a normal day, it feels like normal, like there's restrictions on the place all the time. Yeah. So we're going to get to an interesting and influential lady in a moment. But first, I want to show you one other interesting, influential lady who had something to say. And that was the Queen had a speech to England, only the 4th time. But the problem was, when you wear a green screen outfit, you're going to get taken to the cleaners by everyone who wants to.
It is brilliant. The Iron Maiden one is my absolute, one of my favorite pictures of all time, although the Star Trek one also works. I have got to wear a green shirt.
Well, I actually wondered, because I thought, where's the Sex Pistols, God Save the Queen there? But I suppose we can do that one. So that was the Queen saying, here's what we need to do to get through this. But I want to speak to you about another lady who's quite influential, and that's the Indian writer, Arundhati Roy. She's a very influential writer, wrote The God of Small Things, won the Booker Prize with that. But she said a few things about the coronavirus, and she's sort of saying it could be a portal to a better world. She says it's crushed us back down into something different. We don't want to return to normality, but she says pandemics historically have forced humans to break with the past and imagine their world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. What do you think of that, Dave? Is this pandemic a gateway to a better world?
I think it's brilliant, but I think the fact that you've mentioned her also proves either that you do listen to my podcast, The Quantum of the Wee Flea, or that you don't listen, because I had actually not just quoted her, but I had her speaking about the situation in India, and it was fascinating. She is a wonderful woman and a brilliant writer. And I actually think that comment is fascinating, because I think historically it's correct. You think about the Black Death in the 14th century, or you think about the plagues in the Roman Empire in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, and they did send change. I would also argue that the Spanish flu resulted in change. It could be argued that it resulted in the Great Depression and then everything else that came from it. So whether the change is positive or not, I don't know. Although
Well,
my earlier statement that people are just looking to get things back to the way that they were is, I think, a better indication of where it will go. People will just try to go back to their old ways. And I wonder if we'll be able to.
well, that's a good question, because one of the things I wonder is this: at the end of that statement, she says, we can actually fight for this new world. And I'm going, the problem is, don't people have different visions of what the new world could look like? And then hasn't that been our problem in the past? And do we really, all I see is the language of war again, and everyone's going to go back to what it was like, where everyone's fighting over everything, or fighting about sexuality or gender or the direction of the government or capitalism or climate change. We've all got competing visions of the good life and what human flourishing looks like.
Yeah, it's is it Dietrich Bonhoeffer who talks about beware of the tyranny of the visionary? And I think that you're right. I think we're going to get the climate change people saying, this is wonderful. We can see the Himalayas now from Beijing, or I think it was from some area of India. They were saying they could see it. And so the environmentalists say, let's shut down the world. And then socialists are going to be saying, we've now got socialism because the state's pouring in all this money. And you think where it's from. Capitalists are going to be saying, we need to go back to a full-scale capitalist economy. I struggle with all this Brave New World stuff. I hope there will be a renewed world. Ultimately, that's only going to come when Christ comes again. But I think maybe, just maybe, I have a slight hope that this will waken people up in different countries to their need of a savior. That's how I would.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, because I think we can't bring, if we're still old creation people, according to the Bible, we can't bring in a new creation without the one who was raised from the dead, Jesus.
Which I think our time is nearly gone. Have you got any other pearls of wisdom you wish to share with us before we green screen you and put an Iron Maiden shirt on you?
Look, all I would say is, here's a verse to end this. When the Sabbath was passed, so this is after the Sabbath, this is Mark 16 in the Bible. Mary Magdalene, Mary, the mother of James, and Salome brought spices so that they might go and anoint the body of Jesus. And very early on the first day of the week, when the sun had risen, they went to the tomb, and then they see the stone rolled away.
Yeah.
That is the beginning of this new world that the Prince of Peace fought for us. That's the key to me.
Yeah, that is the key, and that's the new world. And by the way, I think we should give a shout out to the girls we were speaking to this morning at their school. It was great, and some of them I hope will tune into this as well. It was just great to have a chat with them. And you know what we were doing, really? We were talking about the new world that comes through Christ. That's where we're at.
Yeah,
so we'll see you tomorrow.
It was great. Yeah, thanks, people. See ya.
See you tomorrow.